breaking news coming in. It's a mega boost for modinomics amid the Trump tariff war, as global auditing major has predicted massive India surge. In fact, Ernst Young making that prediction, saying that India may be the second largest economy. Ernst Young also saying that India's economy is all set to hit $34 trillion by 2038. EY making that statement, saying that India is big on structural reforms and India's fundamentals are fairly resilient. This is extremely important owing to the current situation we are in, where India does face the heat of Trump's tariffs. And while that has been escalated to 50%, remember, there have been several contradictions happening, where his own people also saying that US's stance towards India is not the best even for the United States. However, Ernst Young now making this statement, which is extremely significant, as the auditing major has said that India may be the second largest economy. Also adding that India's economy is all set to hit $34 trillion by 2038. Let's get further details on this statement by Ernst Young, by my colleague Chetan Bhutani, joining us on the broadcast, and why this is so significant amid the times we are in.
Well, absolutely. It's an absolutely important statement, or the report release that comes at an opportune time for India as well, because as we see geopolitical wars, the tariffs war are going under play. One of the biggest audit firms like EY betting big on India, saying that India's economy could reach probably a 20.7 trillion in terms of the purchasing power parity (PPP) by 2030, and may emerge as the second largest economy by 2038 with a 34.2 trillion GDP. The report said that, in fact, the report also mentions that with appropriate countermeasures, India can limit the adverse impact of higher US tariffs on selected Indian imports to about 10 basis points of real GDP growth, which in fact means a lot of impact could be negated. India is emerging as one of the most dynamic among the world's 5 largest economies, strong economic fundamentals, including high savings and investment rates, favorable demographics, and a sustainable fiscal position, said the August 25 issue of EY Economy Watch. Also adding that the global uncertainties such as tariff pressures and slowing create India's resilience stems from its reliance on domestic demand and increasing capabilities and more technologies, the report further said. So India is all set to projected to become the third largest economy in market exchange rate by 2028, overtaking Germany, which is also one of the most speculated comments going forward in those markets as well.
Oh yes, and while these may be tough times at the moment, India has proved its resilience and mettle even in the past, Chetan, when you can recall for our viewers how 27 years ago India faced a similar situation of sanctions by the US, but India sprung back, and how during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time, when before the Pokhran 2 nuclear tests, he had said that our action hasn't entailed price, but we should not worry because India has an immense reservoir of resources and inner strength. And now again, that sentiment that has been echoed, that the US may try to corner India in that sense, but our economy is resilient and our calculation will not fail.
Well, absolutely. A meaningful comparison of the economic size may be based on the PPP, constant 2021 international dollars, rather than market exchange rates. Well, on the basis, India's GDP in the EY report mentions that India's GDP in FY25 is estimated by the IMF at about 14.2 trillion PPP, around 3.6 times larger than what measured in market exchange rate terms. Also, India is already the third largest economy after China and the US, and if beyond 2030, India and the US maintain an average growth rate of 6.5% and 2.1%, India may surpass the US economy in PPP terms by 2038, the report also highlights. So clearly, yes, you correctly pointed out that if India's resilience and the growth numbers maintain, we could probably surpass the US only by 2038 itself.
All right, I want to thank you for joining us on the broadcast. As with me also is Geeta Mohan, Foreign Affairs Editor. Very good morning to you. Good afternoon to you, Geeta. Also, a larger sense of the situation, because we understand that Peter Navarro has drawn a bizarre logic on the Ukraine conflict, but in the US itself, there is a divide where the Democrats have blasted Trump for singling out India.
Well, that's right. The U.S. House Democrats have come out and said that this is not to America's advantage. The fact that India has been singled out for buying Russian oil, whereas China has been let scot-free. So a very important and significant statement coming from the House Democrats, the Democratic leaders in the United States of America. This even as we're just reporting Ernst Young report, where it says that India is a resilient economy, and India will be looking at other options as well. Diversifying is one important agenda on India's checkbox to counter these tariffs that have been slapped by the United States of America. Also remember, Peter Navarro is not new to the bias he has against India. If you go through his earlier tweets, his comments on India, it's always been anti-India. And so this is what the White House trade advisor brings to the table, an anti-India bias. And you're seeing a lot of the policies and structured around these advisors, biases, and that certainly is not going to go down well for the U.S. economy as well. So at this point in time, where Ernst Young sits and is looking at the Indian economy, although we will be hit in a way because of the tariffs, but should we ensure that there is diversification and we quickly have the outreach that India is planning to various other countries, then maybe we'd be able to contain the disaster that we could be faced with because of these tariffs. So India, according to Ernst Young report, is going to be the second largest economy by 2038, and way before the planned time, which was 2047. And if you look at the larger picture over here, Sriesha, it just seems like the countries that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to visit, that's China and Japan, are also looking at negotiating, because they also are having a difficult time negotiating trade with America.
Right. Geeta, I want to thank you. I request you to stay on with us as Mr. Mohan Guruswamy, economist, joining us on the phone line. Very good afternoon to you, sir. With the kind of predictions coming in from Ernst Young, are you confident India is headed that way amid what may seem like a crisis situation right now?
Well, India is on a growth trajectory, but I'm skeptical about Ernst Young as a company itself. They've been making all kinds of predictions in the past. But many companies, such as Goldman Sachs, such as Citibank, have predicted India's growth trajectory, which will take it past 40 trillion by 2050. And I can see no reason why it shouldn't happen. But there's a problem here. The problem was all this was predicated on the old population growth rate. Mm-hmm. Indian population has started dipping, slowing down much before that. And so, we may not have the people base, and we might be aging by then. So it might slow down. But in any case, India is on a growth trajectory, and that is a good sign. But, whether the U.S. trade embargo will affect us or whether it will stay, I'm not very sure, because it will affect us in the short run. But on the long run, it will make us more diverse in our exports. It will make us more competitive in our exports. And what Mr. Trump is doing is probably will hurt America more than it will hurt India.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And the larger message coming in from many experts who say that trade is now being weaponized. It is time that India reads the signals and the fact that we must diversify.
Of course we should. We should also go up in the value-added chain. We should have more manufactured goods being exported. And that will come when we have a lot more foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment has just come down to about $2 billion last year. We can't do with that kind of. We need $40-50 billion foreign FDI coming into India continuously for the next decade or so. And that is not happening. And a lot of domestic investment is also slowed down. Savings rate is slow. Savings rate is now coming in the 20s. India needs a domestic savings rate of almost 35 to 40%, because then we'll have the capacity to invest. So, you can't cheat economics, the basic laws of economics. You can keep saying that population growth will take you up to a certain level, but it will stop. And that is what's happening to India. They're slowing down. And to get the pace up, we need to increase productivity. To get productivity up, we need to increase investment. To get more investment, we need more savings, higher taxation, higher savings with banks, and rectifying cleaning up our financial institutions. There is a lot of work to be done, but it is not being done.
All right, sir. Many thanks for your time on India Today and, of course, putting that into perspective.